I trained as a sculpture conservator, and I worked for many years working on kind of historical objects, from sort of museum artifacts, sort of 18th century marble statues, church monuments, all manner of different materials all around the country. And I think you're always sort of influenced by kind of historical sources, and you know, you can kind of gather some information from different periods and different styles and incorporate them into your work, you know, and try and sort of use it in a contemporary way. We've worked in some fairly, you know, interesting places. Hardwick Hall features in the folder. As I went along and sort of studied and worked in the industry, I kind of took a sort of selection of photographs, and it's quite good to kind of keep a record of you know, obviously what you've done and where you've worked and what materials, you know, kind of you encountered and what processes and techniques that you used. And of course, it's all good for sort of referencing things in the future. And we've got some objects from Derbyshire, you know, the Derbyshire Black Marble, and we actually worked at Hardwick Hall on some of the stonework. And we did see some of the stone in the house, and it's fascinating, really. Right, we've got some of the tools that some of the workers on this Ashford Black Marble used to use, and I think they're quite interesting. I think that some of them are a bit strange and odd, but they're clearly used for kind of shaping some of the smaller pieces of marble. Quite interesting. They used to buy in these little boxes full of semi-precious stones to kind of inlay and shape, and some of them are really, really delicate. You've got these really fine kind of tweezer-like implements which can be used to obviously place things, and little magnifying glasses which are really nicely handmade, and handmade scribes, super pieces, all used to obviously control the material and to create some of the shape and inlays and carved materials. And I think we've got some of the chisels here that we use with tungsten tips and claw chisels, so these are the kind of modern equivalent, really. Although they would have used tools like this back then, of course, just in the same way, maybe not with, you know, kind of modern, highly tempered steel, but similar. And we've got some fine rifflers as well, which can be used to obviously shape the marble and smooth things off. And then finally, you know, with a sort of final phase of sort of sanding the material down, they would have used leather with all sorts of different abrasive powders to kind of create that final finish on the surface, to give it that polish, but with a more modern material, you know, kind of Velcro back discs which attach to the angle grinders, so you can use a kind of a mechanical version of that and do it really fast. It's interesting that, you know, the material has sort of fallen out of favour a little bit, and I think the process in actually quarrying marble and limestone generally has become not so efficient and kind of expensive, and the material itself has gone through a bit of a transition, and it's not as popular as it used to be, and has become slightly old-fashioned, I suppose, and more modern materials are used now to replace it. The Derbyshire quarries and some of the other quarries in that region you know, have closed down, and you know, there's not that demand for it anymore. You know, that popularity has just sort of declined, and the material's not used, but there are little pockets of people that do use it still, and I'm one of them. And I do use, you know, the carboniferous limestones and marbles and limestone generally, and there still are sort of specialists that use the material.